Hi guys, and welcome back to another video. I hope that you are doing amazing. Today we have a hair video. I'm gonna show you guys a few different ways that I have been styling my curly curtain bangs. Now I went on a whim, DIY girl over here, and we literally just cut some curly bangs, and I was literally completely influenced by Pinterest photos that I saw of the cute curly hairstyles that had like the little bangs and all that good stuff. So your girl literally went into the bathroom and just chopped off bangs, and I have been just finding different ways to style them, and I wanted to share with you just in case you are looking for some inspiration for curly curtain bangs. It is possible, and honestly I find them to look way better than the like typical straightened curtain bangs. Those look cute too, but there's just something about the curls just doing their own thing and the different forms and all that good stuff that is just so beautiful to me. So this is what we're starting with. If you would like to see the different ways that I style my curtain bangs and the final overall curly hair look, well then you know what to do. Just keep on watching. Just move you guys up a bit so you can get the entire hair in the frame. So I've just been letting my hair air dry a bit, but the first step is going to be to just take the spray bottle and re-dampen the hair. You always want to style your hair when it is wet and super damp, and then that is when we'll also apply the product. So I'm just going to do that. Now once I feel that the hair is starting to get dampened enough, I'm just going to go with the brush just to make sure that we don't have any tangles or anything like that. And if I want to add more water, which towards the end of the hair I think I am going to want to just make sure that that is nice and damp, I'll do that before we apply products. Now for product application, I'm going to be putting the Pattern Custard as well as the Aunt Jackie Coconut Curling Jelly. I have an in-depth video on how I go from wash day to styling, so I'll definitely link that below if you want to see all of the products and all of that stuff that I use. Today we're going to focus more so on the front bang area and the different ways that you can style it, meaning like with the brush or with your finger or different things like that. So that'll be what I want to emphasize on. So the step that I'm going to do right now is just section my entire hair. We'll apply some of the custard, we'll apply some of the gel, and then we'll focus on this front portion. Now that we are all done applying product, the first way that I like to style my hair is going to be with a line down the middle. Now I'm going to style the back hair with the same technique that I showed you guys in the other video that I was talking about, which, ooh, hold on, this is getting in my eye, which is going to be taking the brush from the bottom and just rolling out this way. So that's what I'm going to do. But before we do that, I do just want to kind of take out the curtain bangs so that I can show you guys how I style that specifically once the rest of the hair is complete. So I'm going to just put this together right on in here with a bobby pin. We'll style and brush the rest of the hair the way that I typically would, but we're parting it down the middle because now I want that middle part. Sometimes I like a side part, and that's what I'll show you guys as well after I show you this first one. Now I'm just going to part it, and with the brush, those back hairs, we're going to do it this motion, not this motion, and you'll see what I'm talking about. I'm just taking it, running it through, and then we're just kind of lifting and rolling out that way. So this is what I'm going to do for the back hair because I don't necessarily want that much volume in the back. I'm just essentially doing this and then kind of just letting the curls take their own form. When we get more so to the front hairs, I do want to switch the pattern of the brush just so that we do get some more volume. So now instead of going from the top down, we're going from the bottom of the hair, pulling out the root and then twisting in. So that's what we're gonna do on this side. So as you can see, the root is coming out a bit more, and when it dries, it'll have a lot more volume because it's taking that form. So in the surrounding hair, I do like to just practice this step just so that we have some volume in that front portion. So I'm just gonna rotate the brush and then just let the curl kind of just form and create on its own. And as you see, once you start bouncing it, it literally just starts to create its own curl. All right, so now that we're all done with the surrounding frames, we're gonna take the actual bang itself. And the first thing that I wanna show you is how I use the brush to be able to style them. So we're just gonna run it through just to make sure that there is no tangles or anything like that. And I'm gonna rotate the brush because I wanna use the handle. So I'm gonna go under, similar to what I've been doing with the rest of the hair, but now we're gonna rotate it and let the hair twist onto the handle. So this is what it should look like, and I'm just gonna continue to twist it until the hair is done. And this is what it's gonna look like. Now we have different lengths of curtain bangs, so they're all literally just going all around, but it essentially stops right here on the jawline. And that is the first way that I would style my hair, especially down the middle. Now this would just add a little bit of volume and you'll have that really beautiful ringlet. On the other side, I wanna show you a different technique, which I've actually seen a lot of people also do. Now this one requires a little bit more time because it is kind of like finger coiling, which the finger coiling is just essentially doing this to it. You can do this to all the hair, so that's one way that you can create a curl, and that's the pattern that you would have. So literally essentially just like twisting and coiling it. So this is one way. I'm trying to let you guys see it. That's one way that the curl would form. But another one that I've seen that I've actually tried before and I really do enjoy is the rolling. So let me just see if I can show you guys what that looks like. So you essentially wrap it around your finger, and using that same hair, you have to make sure you're holding on to it. You start to roll your finger in with it. So it's literally like if you were to get rollers done with your hair, but instead of rollers, it's your finger. I'll pull one out and then let the hair form on there. So you kind of see the difference. This is with the finger coil, and that one just gives like a nice little ringlet, but this one gives a more like roller effect, if that makes any sense. So let me just do that again. Now with that one, I would definitely recommend, and I see a lot of people just taking a little bit of hair at a time. So that's what makes it a little tedious, but essentially you are just making sure that the ends is caught right on in the middle, because if you don't, then it's a complete mess. And you just keep rolling up until the top. Let me see, hold on. Let me make sure that it's letting the finger come out, and then we got a hair out. So let me actually do that one again. This is where it can get a little complex, but you get the point. It's essentially creating a little roller with your finger. So you just want to make sure that the end is caught up in the middle, like I said, and you're just creating that roller effect with your finger. So that's just what we're going to continue to do all the way up. It's getting a little tight up there. And then just hold on to the bottom and let that curl go. So let me see if I can actually show you what that one looks like. And then let's just do that last one right on in here. And then we'll let it dry, and I'll show you guys what those all dry like. But we have 3 different techniques right on in here. My favorite is definitely the one with the brush, just because it's so easy to do and it literally gives you the most stunning and beautiful curls. I think that one is really nice, but I also like this one just because it gives like a more like roller effect. Do you see that one? That one's really pretty. They look kind of similar, but I feel like you can have more control with this one. You can pick the amount of hair that you want and things like that. So we have the finger coil right on in here, which is just twisted and it has like its own little tight ringlet. And then we have these right on in here that I use with the finger coil. And then we have this one that we use the brush for. So now I'm just gonna apply a little bit of air on it, let it dry a bit, and then we'll come back and I'll show you guys what they look like dried. Alrighty, so I just want to show you what the curls are looking like. The hair is starting to dry. This is what the finger coiled hair is starting to look like. So as you can see, it definitely is starting to like shrink up and take its form, but it is very, since it's coiled, it's very like wherein all the hairs are in one single ringlet. Now these are right on in here are the strands that we did the roller, and as you can see, each hair is defined, is kind of in its own ringlet. So we have these 3 right on in here. So look at them up against the finger coil. And then on this side, we have with the brush. So these are all starting to dry together. And I would start to separate them, as you can see, just to, you know, start to break those apart. But even just from right now, you can see this one has a tighter curl than the brush. So the brush will give you, let me like move them over so you can actually see. The bigger the brush, that'll give you a bigger ringlet, obviously, but with the finger, you can get those really tight curls because you are literally rolling them into a roller that would ideally be the size of 2 fingers. So if you like tighter ringlets, I would highly recommend doing this one. It is, like I said, a bit more time consuming because you have to literally take small strands just so that you can get really defined curls. Now, if you like more definition into each and every single curl, you can also do the finger coil. This one would be the third option if I ever have to pick for different techniques and styles that I would use with this one. I think it creates a really pretty curl, but I prefer the roller approach more. And then this one with the brush, honestly, is the one that I've been doing the absolute most. But now that I think about it, I'm like, I can combine both of these because I really like how tight these shorter strands are. So I'm going to continue to let the hair dry so that we can try and at least get a visual of what it looks like when it's mostly dry. That is the only not fun part of curly hair styling. It's the waiting for it to dry. I have been using my Dyson just to like kind of blow over it. I ideally let my hair air dry, which can take even longer, but yeah, we're just gonna wait and see what the final hair looks like once it is at least 90% dry. So I'll keep on air drying and show you guys in a bit. So the hair is mostly all dry and I want to just show it to you guys. And also really quick, I just want to show these 2 super cute necklaces. We have this choker style heart pendant and this really pretty dainty choker necklace that I just got from Nasty Gal. But anyways, we're back to the hair and I would say we're probably at maybe like 85% dry right now. But I do want to show you guys the difference on how the curls are starting to dry. So this one is the curl that we have where we used the brush. So as you can see, we have a tight coil right on in there, and this is the one that we used the finger roller set. So definitely a much tighter curl, as you can see, but very similar actually indeed. So these are 2 techniques side by side just so you can see the curl pattern. And then I do just want to show you the finger coiled one. So this is what it looks like when it dries. So definitely as it dries, it starts to get some volume, which I like, and it starts to look a little bit more like these, because at first I was a little worried. I'm like, why does this look like a straggly little snake? But as it starts to dry, each strand starts to kind of just like expand. So with this one, you really just have to give it some time for it to be able to dry. Now, the last thing I love to do is just break apart those curls, and that way you just start to get a lot more different strands. So I do just want to show you what the finger coiled ones kind of look like once we do that. So just making sure that I'm breaking them apart, and each of them start to form their own little curl, as you see. So those are the strands that we finger coiled. And then these are the roller ones. So I'm gonna just break those apart too, just so that we have more volume and each strand kind of just has its own little moment. And these are also super tight. So as you can see, it starts to just give more of that face framing bang look, which is what we love to be able to get out of the curtain bangs. So this is the side with the finger coiling as well as with the roller. Now we'll move on to this set, and this is the one that I use the brush. So as always, the final step is always going to be to just separate the curls, and that's just what's going to give us more individual strands. And once again, you literally have the really cute just like curtain bang approach. Definitely a lot shorter in the front. That's how I cut it, just like kind of right on in there, and then just taking the hair and cutting it just so that it frames the face. So that's essentially what my hair is doing. And then once we get towards the bottom, we're just adding a bit of definition and layers and all of that good stuff. So what I typically also love to do is just flip it over. So we're just gonna do this and just start to shake it to just give it a bit more of that volume and scrunch it a bit. So this is what we are looking like, and that is 3 different techniques that I tend to do when it comes to styling my curly curtain bangs, but also my hair in general. Now the one that I've been using the most is definitely the brush approach, just because like I mentioned, I think it is the quickest. The other 2 literally require you to have to section your hair and take your time to just wrap it around your finger or to roll it. But girl, if you want those super tight and defined curls, I would highly recommend this. So I think especially even in just the curtain band section, I think that'll be a really good spot to be able to do it. I typically also part my hair on the side. I like that approach too. So I've already cut the bangs earlier, but one thing I always like to do once I get to this final stage is just look at all the curls once they're dry, and then literally just trim some areas that I want to be a little bit more face framey. So for example, this one right here is a little long. As you can see, it kind of just sticks out. So I am just gonna take the scissors and we're just gonna cut it in a layered down form, just so that way this can be the same length as the rest of the hair. So I'm just gonna trim that right on in there. And as you can see now, it's starting to just layer. So ideally the frame that you want to give is shortest right on top, and then just let the curls kind of just like fall on your face. Now, if you don't trust yourself with scissors, definitely go to a hairdresser and get it done. But if you're like me and you don't mind just like taking some scissors and chopping your hair and experimenting that way, I would definitely take a pair of scissors and just start to cut it. I think also when it's curly, it's a good way to cut it because you can see the shrinkage and just see like where they lie. Because if you do it when your hair is wet and down, you're gonna cut it a lot shorter than what it'll look like when the curls are actually dried. But this is literally what they would look like. And like I said, just continuing to like break them apart, going into each and every hair strand and just making sure they all just fall nicely where you would want them to be. And like I said, you want short to long, and just for it to frame the face as normal curtain bangs would. But yeah, I just wanted to share these 3 easy techniques on how to be able to style your curly curtain bangs as well as your curly hair in general. I hope you guys found this video helpful. Thank you so much for being here and for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye.